Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst. And hey, it's the show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free from your health problems. I love that I get this opportunity to chat with you today. We had such a huge response to our show last week, and lots of questions on what are some more specific things that I can do to decrease my inflammation. A lot of questions about food and substitutes. So guess what we're doing? We're doing a show called Trade This for That. You're going to love it. Oh my God, you're going to love it. All my favorite substitutes for the common traditional foods that we crave, right? I mean, like let's be honest, right? Okay, we crave the foods that are typically unhealthy for us. And I was having a conversation with a patient once, and she goes, Dr. Ernst, I started doing this elimination diet. I've been doing my cleansing program. And she's like, I thought that I was going to have to choke this stuff down, thinking these foods were going to be terrible. And she goes, my God, they actually were better than what I was eating. Thank you. So I want to give you guys sort of the secret internal look into my pantry, my house, and what do I use? What does my wife cook with? How does our family eat? Instead of the foods that maybe some of you have in your pantries or your refrigerators or your cupboards or wherever. And as it is a health hour, don't forget, you get to ask your questions. You can use facebook.com/AskDrErnst for that. You can go to our website, Ask Dr. Ernst, ping us, connect with us. Let's chat. Let's see what we can do to help you answer your questions. And something fun for this week I'm going to do. My team and I have developed a full integrated 4-week, easy-to-follow diet plan and recipe pack that I would like to give away for you absolutely free today. Okay, all you have to do is pick up the phone and call 704-906-2094, or be a little brave, grab your phone and text the same number, your name and your email address. We need first, last, and email, and my team will send that over to you. It's an ebook. It's roughly about, 70 pages long. Over 100 recipes. They're all anti-inflammatory. And listen, we did all the hard work. Shopping lists, week to week. Recipes, week to week. Meal plans. You won't even have to think. You just follow it, and you're going to get some excessive results with anti-inflammation, energy, weight loss, and what is the cost of it? Free. Just takes a second. 704-906-2094. Or again, you can text just your name and your email. And see, there's someone texting right now. So do that. Name, first, last, email, send, 704-906-2094. So again, last week we talked a lot about inflammation. What is it? Where is it coming from? And the majority of what we're doing to ourselves is we're creating an inflammatory process because the foods you eat can either be the greatest weapon against your inflammatory states, or it can be the most significant cause of that. And here's the great thing about it, of course. That means you get to be in control. You get to make the decision to change. And while our diet is extremely important, I want to make sure that we put out just 2 quick things. Be careful, because a lot of you will say, well, I've been doing this diet shift, I'm doing everything, and I'm not healing. Diet is 1/3 of the total healing process that's required for you to rejuvenate, heal, and become your own physician. We also need to do some detoxification. We need to confirm that your neurological systems, your energy pathways are open, and we need to make sure that your pathways are clear. No heavy metals, no pesticides, no herbicides. All those interferences can also create an inflammatory process. And what kind of inflammation am I talking about? I'm talking about the chronic, low-grade inflammation that research has connected to be the reason so many of us have high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, arthritis, fatty liver disease, autoimmune conditions, thyroid issues, you name it. So it is a trade this for that show. And I want to talk today first about the most important thing you can change. I mean, number one food group to change are the oils that you use to cook with, or you use in your dressings, or you use in whatever you're using for your oils. Some of you are consuming them directly. You're putting them into smoothies and teas and things to this effect. And many of you are eating these highly inflammatory oils because they come in a lot of processed foods. So we're going to talk about oils. We're going to talk about the vegetables that we need to focus on. We're going to talk about a lot of the things like why are fried foods so dangerous, processed meats, the sweeteners we can substitute over to. We're also going to be discussing about the healthy carbohydrate alternatives. We have to talk about salts. We're going to talk about alcohol. Hey, listen, y'all want to have some. At least everybody's asking. And then some food switching ideas, better versions of ice creams, carbonated beverages, and even things like noodles, smoothies, etc. A whole show about food and healing with the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. Don't forget, enter to win our 4-week guide for healing, 704-906-2094. We'll be right back.
Ever been to the beach and you want to bottle up the feeling of relaxation and take it home with you? Lake Norman Salt Spa offers just that. In just one 30-minute session, you are immersed in a climate-controlled salt room with pure pharmaceutical-grade mineral salt, similar to sea salt. One 30-minute session is like going to the beach for the entire day. You not only receive the anti-aging benefits of the salt like you would at the beach, but you're also benefiting from recharging your body's natural battery. The standard American lifestyle exposes you to toxins and stress, which drains your battery, accelerating the aging process and developing disease. You can recharge your battery by surrounding yourself in an environment that is negatively charged, like mineral salt. The more negative ions in your system, the better you feel, and most importantly, the better you heal. On top of all these amazing benefits, the therapy is done in a completely sterile environment. Call the Lake Norman Salt Spa today for 50% off your first session. Call 704-997-5890. That's 704-997-5890.
Sterling believes in the science of CBD. Here's 3 great reasons to choose Sterling CBD. Reason number 1, Sterling is pure CBD. Sterling CBD is made from pure CBD isolate. We remove all the THC and unnecessary compounds, leaving only pure CBD. Reason number 2, backed by science. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, has approved CBD for U.S. Olympic athletes, but they only approve pure CBD, like Sterling CBD. Reason number 3, our organic hemp is FDA approved. At Sterling CBD, we quality control test at every manufacturing stage. We start with organic hemp plants and track them to our FDA-registered food-grade extraction facility. Our pure CBD products include capsules, isolates, lotions, and oils. We even have CBD pet products. You can find Sterling CBD at drernstscbd.com. Use the coupon code Dr. Ernst for 20% off your order.
People are the heart of Jordan Essentials, and our products are the cornerstone. 100% of the population needs skincare in some shape or form, and of course there's a lot to choose from. So what makes Jordan Essentials different? We often like to say it's what we don't put in our products. We avoid harmful chemicals and pack our products with natural, botanical, beneficial solutions for you and your family.
How come there are people who drink a pint of whiskey a day for 20, 30 years, and at the end of it only 20 or 30% become cirrhotic? What happened to the others? And we speculated, we hypothesized, it's the enzyme, alcoholic dehydrogenase made by the stomach. Maybe it's different, maybe it's genes, maybe it's polymorphism. Mm-hmm. The answer appears to be coffee. If you drink that much alcohol and drink 1 cup of regular coffee a day, 20% reduction in alcoholic cirrhosis risk, 2 cups 40%, 4 cups 80%. It's not a license to drink heavily.
Right.
And drink coffee and protect your liver. You could still get Korsakoff psychosis, cardiomyopathy, pancreatitis, kill people on the road, ruin your marriage, but it does protect the liver. It's pretty amazing.
Here's a secret your grocery store does not want you to know. At ThriveMarket.com, get up to 50% off all your organic groceries, delivered to your door for free. Shop organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, and paleo. And get a free jar of coconut oil. Thrive Market. Wholesome products, wholesale prices. Get your free coconut oil today only at ThriveMarket.com.
Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. You're tuning in to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst. Hey, it's a show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free of your health conditions when you become the author of your life and health. You know, we always say here that you need to take control, take the responsibility. Your doctors are certainly not going to sit down with you and talk to you about all the substitutes and alternatives of the inflammatory food products. And listen, we said at the top of the hour, what you hold on the end of your fork is either the greatest healer or the greatest detriment to your health from a perspective of inflammation. And I want to just go briefly through my top list of, let's switch these for these healthy options. And I also want to make a mention that if you're just tuning in, we're doing something fun this week and next week. We're giving away absolutely free to anyone who wants it. I mean, if I get 30 texts, great. If I get 300 texts, even better. If I get 3,000, even better. What are we giving away? A 4-week, done-for-you, absolutely 100% easy to follow menu. We have that for a month. We have all of your shopping lists done. They're all the foods we're talking about today. We even have recipes that go and coincide with that 4-week diet. And I've done this at least several times in the past where I give this away. And oh my gosh, I've had listeners email in, oh my God, thank you. It was worth like hundreds of dollars. I should have bought this from you. It's free. I had a client the other week email me in. They had done it over the Christmas break and told me they've lost 64 pounds following it. And they just said, listen, you said it was 4 weeks. I just decided to turn it into every 4 weeks. I just kept repeating it. So January and February and then now into March. I mean, I'm telling you, you have this massive potential and it's absolutely free. So 704-906-2094. If you call, my team's going to just ask for your name and your email address. And you can also just text direct 704-906-2094. First, last name, email address, and off it goes. And you'll have an entire month's plan for you. Hey, if you're the person in the household who's always having to figure out what are we going to have for dinner, for lunch, for breakfast, I mean, in my house, that can sometimes take us week. Like we have to sit down on Sunday and plan the whole week out in advance. You have it all done for you. It's absolutely, 100% completed. And to make it super easy, each week has its own shopping list that all you got to do is go to the grocery store and go, okay, I'm going to get these foods. I've got everything I need for the week, and all your recipes, menus, and everything's provided. Again, 704-906-2094. Why are we talking about vegetable and seed oils as being the number one food that you need to switch, all right? Because over the past few generations, the amount of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids consumed in the U.S. has been shifting to primarily omega-6, which are the inflammatory oils. It's estimated that right now, if I was to run a blood test on you, your omega-6 ratio would be 20 times higher than it needs to be, and it is the leading contribution behind chronic inflammation. You want your ratio to be about a 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. So omega-3, 1, omega-6, maybe 2 at the most. 20 is excessively high. I've seen some people get tests done up to 40 times higher, and they wonder why they're struggling to get rid of inflammatory-based diseases. So what are the common vegetable and seed oils that you might be using that are actually wrecking your health, causing inflammation, and making you sick? The research says these things actually make you gain fat, and the fat tends to clog in your arteries, and it's not cholesterol that's causing the problem. It's the oils that we use. Specifically, if you use these vegetable oils and seed oils I'm going to list, they're found to be really high in something called a PUFA, P-U-F-A, polyunsaturated fatty acid, which the research says is extremely dangerous and can create oxidation, which is damage to joints, tissues, organs, vessels. Not a good idea. Here we go. Number 1, canola. And I hate to say it. Did you know that 90% of canola oil is genetically modified? So much so that it requires Roundup and or glyphosate to grow. They call it Roundup Ready canola. It means it will not even grow unless it's sprayed heavily with the pesticide. And most canola oils have tremendous amounts of pesticide residue inside of them. It also is a major inflammatory oil, even though you're being told it's so healthy and it's good for your heart and everything else. Soy oil, similar process. Believe it or not, most of the vegetable oils, if you have Wesson or any of the sort of classic vegetable oils in your house, they're actually soy oils, more so than vegetables. Corn, mazola, a big inflammatory. sunflower, sesame, safflower, and rice bran oils. Less common, because typically what most people are using is corn, soy, and canola oils. And so what would be the alternatives? Well, I think if you've been listening to my show for any duration of time, you know that we tend to stay away from the vegetable seed oils, and we go more towards the plant-sourced, naturally fatty, healthier oils: olive, coconut, avocado, tallow, which is like either a beef fat or it comes rendered from either chicken or duck, butter, grass-fed, of course, ghee, which is a clarified version of butter, so they've removed a lot of the inflammatory proteins, and you can also eat a lot of those foods. Olives, of course, instead of olive oils, avocados, and direct coconut milk and or the meats instead of the oils themselves. So you got to give your body an oil change. It's time to do it anyway. I mean, the last time you've probably changed the oil in your body is never. So let's do it now. Fried foods, of course, I think we all get the general concepts that, we don't want to eat tremendous amounts of fried foods. But there was a study done where they found that if you're eating fried foods from conventional sources, okay, you're buying the frozen fried chicken nuggets for your kids, okay, and you think, oh, there's nothing wrong with it, okay, it's healthy for them. Well, the outer coating is usually fried in vegetable oils, number one, and it has a lot of grains, which are also usually toxic and inflamed. But we're not just talking about fried chicken and things to that effect. Look at all the things these days that are fried. Chips and crackers and potatoes and onion rings and donuts and fish, and even healthier foods you might say is Mediterranean falafel, for example. Well, it's still fried. And when it comes to frying foods, the challenge is the vegetable oils become extremely toxic. They're soaked directly into the foods, and then we eat them because they're comfort foods, and we get inflamed. So there is at least, thank God, an alternative swing where now a lot of the food companies are starting to make baked versions instead of fried. So you can find chips that are baked or crackers that are baked, etc. And of course, if you're doing your own cooking, we want to try to avoid the fact of frying foods in heavily processed vegetable oils. That's why if you own an air fryer, what a great alternative, because it uses convection transfer of heat. You're not actually soaking them in tremendous amounts of oils, and you still get that fried sort of crisp appearance, but it is less inflammatory. The next one's a big one for a lot of you: the sugars and the sweeteners that you use. We live in this world today where a lot of our palates, our tongues, and our taste buds are desensitized. Unless it's a massive chemical bomb, you won't be able to taste things. And this is why most people say when they start switching to healthier foods, ugh, I don't like the way broccoli tastes, or cauliflower is bitter. But then what you notice over time is as you reset your taste buds, you'll start going, whoa, like this actually tastes good. They have discovered that if you use a lot of artificial sweeteners, you are desensitizing the receptors on your tongue, so you can't actually even taste the foods you eat, which is why the food industry knows if I put chemicals and stimulants and things, I can trick your taste buds into making your brain think the food is good, but that builds a level of addiction because then you crave that specific taste. They call it umami, where you're like, I don't know why, it just tastes so good. I have no idea why. Well, it's chemical induction of taste. Saccharin, which is sweet and low. Aspartame, which is NutraSweet, equal. Asulfame potassium, or this Ace-K if you've seen it, Sweet One, or Sunnet, or even the Swiss Sweets, and Sucralose Splendas. All of these artificial sweeteners are major inflammatories. And again, the issue is we know they're neurotoxic. We know they destroy your taste buds. So what's a really good way to get that vibrant, youthful taste back? Simply stop using them and give your body at least 3 days to fast down from those artificial sweeteners. This is why doing a water fast or a broth fast or even a vegetable juice fast has been so profound for so many people. Not only does it decrease your inflammation, but it cuts out all the artificial sweeteners that are causing damage to your tongue, to the receptors in your brain, and also to the ability for you to stay de-inflamed. If you're going to ask me, well, what are some healthy sugars, Dr. Ernst? Like, I get this question a lot. Coconut sugar, palm sugar, brown sugar, this sugar, that sugar. Any major source of sugar is going to be just what it is, okay? So is coconut sugar better than white table sugar? Yes, but is there something better than coconut sugar? Yes. All right, I tend to stay in the realms of the non-sweetener-based sort of herbs and or roots that give a sweet taste but don't actually do anything to your inflammatory scores or your blood sugars. And the two biggest ones that I like are stevia in the raw, but not that brand. It has to be like raw as in only stevia. Be careful, a lot of stevias add sugar to their stevia. or using sort of what's called lohan or monk fruit. You can find them, of course, usually spiked with other sweeteners, so make sure it's pure stevia or pure monk fruit. And go through a bit of an elimination diet and or a fast to reset your taste buds so we can get your health and your life back. I've got a ton more for you, so don't go anywhere. But listen, right now I'm opening our call and text lines. We've got a ton of texts. Look at all these people wanting to get healthy. Mary and Bob and Susan, Jack, this is great. Guys, do this for me. 704-906-2094. Send over your name and your email address, first and last name, email address, and we're going to send you a 4-week, already done for you guide towards health, healing, and vibrance by changing your diet, giving you your shopping list, and everything you need with recipes. Over 100 recipes delivered absolutely free. You can also call 704-906-2094. It's our giveaway of the week, and I'm going to see you in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. The best is yet to come.
Ever been to the beach and you want to bottle up the feeling of relaxation and take it home with you? Lake Norman Salt Spa offers just that. In just one 30-minute session, you are immersed in a climate-controlled salt room with pure pharmaceutical-grade mineral salt, similar to sea salt. One 30-minute session is like going to the beach for the entire day. You not only receive the anti-aging benefits of the salt like you would at the beach, but you're also benefiting from recharging your body's natural battery. The standard American lifestyle exposes you to toxins and stress, which drains your battery, accelerating the aging process and developing disease. You can recharge your battery by surrounding yourself in an environment that is negatively charged, like mineral salt. The more negative ions in your system, the better you feel, and most importantly, the better you heal. On top of all these amazing benefits, the therapy is done in a completely sterile environment. Call the Lake Norman Salt Spa today for 50% off your first session. Call 704-997-5890. That's 704-997-5890.
Today, Monticello has a population of 126. It's a small enough town, everybody knows everybody. There are no stoplights in Monticello, so if you're driving too fast, you're going to miss it. But if you happen to turn in, you're going to run across a great Protestant church that has services every Sunday morning. You can go to the post office, and the postmaster's name is Randy. He's always glad to see you. Everybody in town knows everybody. When you walk in the bank, you're called to by your first name. You're not just an account number. We've started the business there 10 years ago, and very slowly and surely we've built up a business that actually reaches out and touches all 50 states and several foreign countries. At the turn of the century, diabetes was almost non-existent. But if you turn the clock up 100 years to 2000, we have a runaway epidemic of diabetes. When I went to school, nobody had ADD. I mean, you look at the modern school today, you've got kids taking medicine, and this is all driven off a diet. And it's so simple just to get back to the foundations of good, healthy diet, and by consuming, grass-fed beef, organic vegetables, getting away from processed foods. This is a paddock move. These animals are coming into this paddock. This has been at rest for probably 30 days, and as soon as they come in here, you can watch their habits. They're going to put their nose down. They're going right after high quality forage.
What I've done here today is give them a fresh strip of grass controlled by this tape over here. This has given them a very consistent ration from day to day. This is an example of what they're getting to eat right now.
But you can just observe the humor of the animals. This is the happiest time of the day. I call it ice cream and cookies. Looking down on the ground, on the landscape here, we have a lot of clovers. We've got annual forages, perennial forages, and a lot of the native forages have come back. The blue stems, the Indian grasses, they're much more prevalent in June and July, but the old seed stock is here. But if we manage the landscape like it should be managed, 25% of the public has never heard of CLA, but it's one of the best kept secrets in agriculture in these grazing animals. You get it from grass-fed beef, grass-fed lamb, grass-fed bison. And you might ask, what does CLA do? A very unique compound, one of the best things you could consume from the standpoint of cancer. It's very effective against cancer. It's very effective against diabetes. Research out of Purdue has documented that. A lot of animal trials, now human trials. And most interestingly, it actually helps the body put on lean muscle and reduce fat. 90% of the cattle in this country or more end up going into a commercial feedlot where they're slowly converted from a grazing diet over to a starch diet. When you fill the animal full of starch, you completely change the chemistry of the finished product, and you end up with an omega-6-3 ratio 20-1, 18-1, and the CLA production is almost nil because of the starch diet.
I don't think that you can beat this example right here where the sun's energy is producing this grass, and this grass is producing these cattle without having any antibiotics, growth promotants, or grain fed to them.
Grass-fed beef is a unique opportunity for you to take control of your health. I've taken control of my health over the last 10 years. I feel better, I feel stronger. Our animals eat right, so you can too.
Purity Coffee is setting a new standard for healthy coffee. We lab test to be free of pesticides, mold, and mycotoxins, and we roast for high antioxidant and low acrylamide levels. When it comes to your coffee, purity matters. You will be able to taste and feel the difference. For first-time customers, we are offering 15% off new orders with the code YouTube. A lot of our customers say that purity makes them feel as good as it tastes.
Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Thanks for listening. And if you're just tuning in, you're checking the Ask Dr. Ernst show. We're broadcasting live here in the Charlotte WBT studios and also on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter and any other streaming social media channel. And if you're online with social media, let's get a little thumbs up and likes. Let's see if we can get the hearts going. I know there's like a half a second delay between when I speak and when I see them. There's a few of them, so let's do that. And if you have a question, don't be shy. Ask below. It can be about anything you want. Maybe it's about the topic of the day, inflammation, and how to swap the most inflammatory foods over for my favorite healthy substitutes and alternatives. Or maybe it has to do with something else. Ask your questions in the comment fields, and myself and my team will reach out and help you. We're also, if you're just tuning in, giving something away today. We're also going to do this for this week and next week, where I'm going to give away a 4-week custom-created meal plan. It's got breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and healthy desserts for the next 4 weeks laid out for you. You don't have to do any work. It has the shopping lists for each week. It'll show you this. You need this and this and this. And it also contains over 100 recipes that will help to support an anti-inflammatory process. All the work has been done for you. All you need to do is text your name, first and last, and email to 704-906-2094. Or you can also call the number, and they will just ask you for your name and your email, and then my team will send that over to you. It is an ebook PDF document, roughly about maybe 90 pages long, and it has everything you need. It's absolutely free. So we've talked about cutting out our sweeteners that are artificial. We talked about getting rid of our vegetable oils that are inflammatory and dangerous. We talked about the fried foods and how there's many alternatives today. We're going to switch over into what I think is a tough one, especially if you like convenience-based food products. A lot of things like processed meats, for example. So salamis and sliced turkey, chicken, hot dogs, bacon, sausages, cold cuts, beef jerkies, all these sort of like snack meats. They might feel like they're convenient and simple and easy, but I'm going to be transparent with you. A lot of those companies that make those food products have this bad secret where they take the lesser quality cuts, so the meats that you would probably cut off and discard, and they grind them down and mix them with other sort of agents to prevent drying or caking. And we tend to see a lot of inflammatory food products mixed into them. As an example, I think you guys know some hot dogs are actually the lower quality cuts where there's bits of skin and cartilage tissue and other things that have been ground into this sort of paste that often has maltodextrin, which is a corn sugar. It often has a lot of chemicals like nitrates and other sort of caking agents and salts and things that you would normally not put onto your foods are then sort of pressed into these perfect molds that make them look exactly like you expect them to look. And then we think they're healthy for us. Okay, when most of these meats are highly processed, again, they will use refined sugars and binders, preservatives, and other ingredients that typically, again, you would discard. But the research shows that many of the sub-ingredients are highly inflammatory and have been linked to why a lot of meats have gotten this bad rap for creating heart disease or cancer. You may have heard that there have been some studies showing that if you eat a lot of sausages or bacon or I'll call it like sliced deli meats, that there's a connection between that and colon cancer. Well, it's not the meat that is necessarily doing it. It's all the additives and all of the ingredients that have been processed to make these foods taste the way that you expect them to taste. The nice thing is that today there are some producers that are actually making high quality, really clean products. My wife recently found while shopping a grass-fed, grass-finished, healthy beef jerky stick. Just like you would think of I don't even know. Do they even have Slim Jims anymore? I'm sure they do, right? So like just that alternative option to that. Or you'll see those gas station style or like your Target, Walmart rows of beef jerkies that are, again, very highly processed, many times soaked in marinades and things that are loaded with sugars and salts and inflammatory foods. Now you can find grass-fed beef jerkies and also even fish, chicken jerkies. I know there's one company called Epic that has been really putting forefront into doing venison and buffalo. So you can find the alternatives, and the benefit is these grass-fed, grass-finished ones are going to be seasoned with apple cider vinegar or spices or Himalayan salts, so we don't get the negative effects of those processed foods. Wow, the time is going by fast. We have a ton of stuff to still give to you, but I want to make sure you get the opportunity, if you missed it, to call in or text in for our free offer, which is a 4-week menu plan, a 4-week recipe pack, a 4-week shopping list, all bundled down into a simple, easy, emailable document that will give you an entire month of health and healing through the choices you make and the foods you buy and the foods you consume. To get that, call 704-906-2094. You can also text over your name and your email address, and my team will send it straight to you. The number again, 704-906-2094. Hey, when we come back, all the fun things, soda alternatives, ice cream alternatives, even things like what could we do instead of noodles and pastas and other bread-based items. It's the Ask Dr. Aaron Show. We'll be right back.
Ever been to the beach and you want to bottle up the feeling of relaxation and take it home with you? Lake Norman Salt Spa offers just that. In just one 30-minute session, you are immersed in a climate-controlled salt room with pure pharmaceutical-grade mineral salt, similar to sea salt. One 30-minute session is like going to the beach for the entire day. You not only receive the anti-aging benefits of the salt like you would at the beach, but you're also benefiting from recharging your body's natural battery. The standard American lifestyle exposes you to toxins and stress, which drains your battery, accelerating the aging process and developing disease. You can recharge your battery by surrounding yourself in an environment that is negatively charged, like mineral salt. The more negative ions in your system, the better you feel, and most importantly, the better you heal. On top of all these amazing benefits, the therapy is done in a completely sterile environment. Call the Lake Norman Salt Spa today for 50% off your first session. Call 704-997-5890. That's 704-997-5890.
Sterling believes in the science of CBD. Here's 3 great reasons to choose Sterling CBD. Reason number 1, Sterling is pure CBD. Sterling CBD is made from pure CBD isolate. We remove all the THC and unnecessary compounds, leaving only pure CBD. Reason number 2, backed by science. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, has approved CBD for U.S. Olympic athletes, but they only approve pure CBD, like Sterling CBD. Reason number 3, our organic hemp is FDA approved. At Sterling CBD, we quality control test at every manufacturing stage. We start with organic hemp plants and track them to our FDA-registered food-grade extraction facility. Our pure CBD products include capsules, isolates, lotions, and oils. We even have CBD pet products. You can find Sterling CBD at drernstscbd.com. Use the coupon code Dr. Ernst for 20% off your order.
So this is the difference between biodynamic and conventional farming. Just look at the difference in vineyards here. You have very green grass and herbs and life growing, and then dead soil over here. So this is a conventional vineyard where they spray pesticides, they use a lot of tractors to pull up the soil. This soil is dead, it's dry. There's no life. This is Klaus's vineyard. It's farmed biodynamically. Everything is picked by hand and they don't use any chemicals. So there's life, there's green grass, everything grows. This is the big disparity between conventional farming and biodynamic farming, and you can see it perfectly side by side. We prefer this wine, of course, because this wine is dead. There's nothing living in it.
Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst. Hey, it's a show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free from your health problems when you really focus on becoming your own physician. Our topic of the hour today is switching this for that. What are the top foods that you're consuming on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that can be physically robbing your health? And what are the healthy, alternative, non-toxic, anti-inflammatory foods, specifically the ones that I love to use, not only just in my life, but in our patients and also in my family with our children. And this is a fun show. I mean, we're getting great responses. My God, you guys are texting in like crazy. Apparently, many of you like to have everything done for you when it comes to choosing your meals, choosing your foods, fixing recipe lists and shopping guides. So we're giving away today, absolutely free, for those of you who haven't already texted in, a Ask Dr. Ernst 4-week done-for-you meal plan. You have the entirety of the month for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and desserts recommended every single day. You have every shopping list you need week by week, so you know exactly what you need to get at the grocery store. And you have over 100 recipes that will help to support a switch from the inflammatory classic foods over into this healthy, cellular healing, non-toxic alternative. And again, it's absolutely free. If you'd like us to email that to you, 704-906-2094. That's 704-906-2094. If you call, just give my team your name and your email address. If you text, just do first and last name and your email, and then it'll go straight off to you. Continuing our list of switching this for that, I want to talk to you guys about salt just for a moment. A lot of you may still be using the traditional over-the-counter white, what I'll call chemical salts. And here's the thing behind salt. See, so many of us are scared to death of using salt, partly because it's been vilified. There have been so many studies showing that if you have a high salt intake, then you're going to get, heart disease, or you'll have a stroke, or have high blood pressure. But I did some digging. Did you know that it's actually, the research shows 75% of your salt intake doesn't come from you eating salt directly. It comes from all of the processed, packaged, canned, boxed food items that you eat. Now think about that. You're not actually out there salting your food. It's the manufacturers doing it for you, and you may not be paying attention to the fact that the salt contents are usually excessively high. So this would naturally then lead to a higher amount of inflammation. But here's the kicker. Not from the salt that's put in the food, but because, again, of the inflammatory oils and usually all of the additives with the refined sugars and carbohydrates and processing that's done to a lot of our foods. Listen to this. The average processed food, meaning it's in a box or it's in a can or it's in a bag or it's ready to eat and ready to heat and ready to go, has a combination of calcium silicate, potassium ferrocyanide, yellow pertussate of soda, iron ammonium citrate, silicon dioxide. All of these are used to prevent things from sticking together in the foods that you're buying. And those have been found to cause more rises in blood pressure and cholesterol and sugars than salt itself. So yes, we need salt. And believe it or not, the right kinds of salt can actually lower your blood pressure, help to control muscle function. So some people get a lot of cramps and or Charlie horses. It's a sign you're salt deficient, just so you know. It helps to maintain the blood sugar balances and the acidic balances of the body. So instead of cutting back on salt as a whole, I think it's better that you cut back on using processed salts that are found in foods and simply use real healthy salts. So when we talk about unrefined salts, we're talking about sea salts or river salts, Celtic sea salt as an example, Himalayan sea salt. You'll find them as either white or gray or pink or black, typically in some sort of whole food store or a health food store that will help you to find alternatives for your salts. Again, don't be afraid about salt. It helps you in many different pathways, including your digestive system, cardiovascular system, neurological system, and even your muscle systems. So we want to cut back instead on the processing of our foods that have those processed salts inside of them. Many of you have asked me a question about alcohol and said, well, how do I manage this realm of, is alcohol inflammatory, toxic, etc.? Or what about when the studies say that certain amounts of alcohol can actually help you? Red wine, as an example, has some health benefits. It can help to lower your inflammatory scores. It can decrease C-reactive proteins. It can enhance cardiovascular health. But it comes with a million asterisks after it. So pound, hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. You got to pay attention to one thing. Moderation is always the key, of course. We're talking that most of these studies say like 1 glass a week, not a day, a week. Second, we have to remember that almost all sources of Americanized wine and beer are extremely toxic with a carcinogen called glyphosate. And there are studies done on this to show that almost every single major American source of alcohol is contaminated. And let's ask the question why. Well, grapes tend to grow a lot of mold on them. They get this sort of film that shows on them. So grapes are very heavily sprayed. And grapes then end up turning into wine. And there's no way to filter out any of those chemicals. Most beer is, of course, either a wheat or a rye or a barley, which again is a grain source, very heavily sprayed. And the challenge is we tend to see the chemicals passing through. If you're going to do some sort of alcohol, okay, I recommend that you find a lab-tested, verified, ultra-low toxic product. Okay, so Dry Farm Wines as an example. Many of you have seen they've been sponsoring our shows for many, many years. They are the only source of what I'll call non-American made, low toxic, non-carcinogenic with glyphosate wine products that you can get. And again, I also think that mocktails are a great alternative. So yes, listen, if everybody else is kicking back and enjoying their favorite carbonated alcoholic beverage, if you understand where I'm going with that, you can easily just sit back and sip on a kombucha, which, by the way, is a great probiotic drink that has less sugars and calories than most alcoholic drinks. And again, unlike most beer and wine, it's usually not toxic with glyphosate. And the healthy acids and the bacteria can help to support your gut. And that's what we want. Also, I've had some people say, well, what kind of ice creams can I do? You know, a lot of ice cream is dairy, which is inflammatory and loaded with many different flavoring agents. So what you could do instead is switch over from the dairy sources to things like coconut and or the more popular almond milk. There's even now cashew milk, different styles of ice creams. The biggest issue, of course, is most of the ones you're buying over the counter have a tremendous amount of sugar added to them. Just because it's cashew, ice cream doesn't mean that you can just down the whole thing and think, oh my God, it was actually healthy for me. So I'm a bigger fan of making your own. And guys, ice cream is one of the easiest things on this planet to make. You can take the full fat of coconut milk, put it into a blender, add some of your favorite berries in the frozen form, blend them around to make a thickened sort of really thick smoothie. Think of it like a smoothie bowl, if you will. If you want to then turn that into some ice cream, you can put it into an ice cream maker, which will consistently stir it around while cold and make it into a direct ice cream. You can also look at doing the alternatives, which would be, again, things like maybe a bowl of fruit and or other berries that you blend together with, again, almond milk, cashew milk, etc. Again, sort of this craze that everybody's seeing about these smoothie bowls instead of ice cream. Carbonated beverages are a big deal for a lot of people. So your Pepsis and your Cokes and your Mountain Dews, etc. I don't know if you know this. They're loaded with oil. They have a brominated vegetable oil often found in most of them, and the acids in the ingredients keep the oils in suspension. If you add certain ingredients to it, baking soda and other things, what you're going to find is you'll see the oils separate out, and it's actually extremely disgusting, at least in my opinion it is. Diet sodas are no better. Of course, they're loaded with all of the alternative sweeteners that are artificial, usually Splenda and sucralose, sweet and low, etc. And those are extremely inflammatory and also highly toxic. There are, thankfully, companies now that are coming out with flavored carbonated waters that have the different flavors you like, lemon lime or cream soda or Dr. Pepper as an example. But of course, it's not going to be called that because that's a trademark name, but it's going to taste like it because it has some stevia or some other flavorings inside of it. There is a company called Zevia, which makes a brand like that. And also, listen, you can very easily just take seltzer water and make your own version of a carbonated beverage. You can use lemon juice, lime juice. You can also use other berries that you infuse into that. So a great way to have a soda alternative. What about pastas and spaghettis? We get asked all the time, listen, what am I supposed to do? Okay, if you go to my website, askdrernst.com, you can type in grainless substitutes. We have multiple articles where I've actually gone through and reviewed all the different companies. By far my favorite are two different ones. Using vegetables to create noodles. So you may have heard of these things called zoodles, which is like a zucchini noodle. So you just take a zucchini, crank it through a spiralizer. You get these long, thin strings that actually act like noodles. You can also use hearts of palm. They're becoming very popular. They're extremely anti-inflammatory. There's even a company called Palmini that makes noodles, and they also make a version of rice. So there you go. All the healthy alternatives, the favorites from my kitchen, all designed to help you to heal and to have your life come back through the food choices you make at the end of your fork. Hey, again, if you're looking for help in the area of what do you eat and what kind of menus can you follow, I'm giving away an absolutely free 1-month, 4-week, done-for-you guide. All your meals, all your recipes, even your shopping guides. All you have to do is call 704-906-2094 for us to send it over to you. And if you text in, don't forget first name, last name, and email, and it'll go straight to your email address. Thanks very much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Until then.